Hi, it's Kerry here. I've just stopped by to quickly talk to you a little bit about customer lifetime value. The reason I'm doing this is because this concept is central to your business's well-being in the future. It's the key to you being able to become unbeatable, to dominate your industry, and certainly the key to doubling your profits. So I've gone ahead and created a quick video to show you how you go about looking at this in your business, how you calculate it, and so that you can assess for yourself a little bit about how this might help you to be able to improve in your business performance without too much effort at all. So without further ado, let's get to it.
I'm going to start with a little definition. There are two ways of looking at customer value. The first way is from the customer's perspective, and the other is from the business perspective. Now, from the customer perspective, it's what they are getting for their money. From the business's perspective, and the way that we'll be looking at it in this example, it's all about how much money the customer spends with the business during the time that they remain a customer of that business. So let's just bear that in mind as we go along. I've put together an example here to illustrate the power of the concept of customer value and the lifetime value of a customer. So let's just walk through that briefly to see how it all fits together. In this example, I'm assuming that the average customer is going to spend approximately 2 years as a customer of a company. All sorts of things happen. People move, they get wooed, they get distressed about something and go to a competitor, whatever happens. But let's just assume for the meantime 2 years is the time that they remain a customer. Let's assume for this exercise also that in those 2 years they spend $100 in each of those years, bringing the total revenue which they bring to the business about $200 over that 2-year period. Assuming a gross profit of 10%, that would mean that you earn $20 of profit off that customer over the period of time that they remain a customer. Now, this example assumes an acquisition cost. In other words, it's the cost of advertising or giving away special deals or discounts, whatever it might be that you employ to get your customers to join you in the first place as a customer. In the scenario, I'm just presuming that it's an $8 cost involved in that process. We can talk about the details later in connection with your own business, and obviously we would do that in detail. But the net of that would mean that you net $12 of profit from that customer over that 2-year period that they remain a customer. So having said that, let's take a view as to what might be possible if we exploit the leverage that's involved or available to be deployed into your business through focusing on the customer lifetime value. I'm going to do that by taking a comparative exercise, putting two scenarios side by side, the current situation which we've looked at and one where we've adopted a slightly adjusted strategy. And that's all the difference is the strategy. In the second example, we're not increasing the number of customers, although that is important and that would be done down the track. For the meantime, we're still taking a look at that same customer on average. So the first thing that you'll notice here is that we've extended the life expectancy from 2 to 3 years. We do that by an automated process that helps the customer to become endeared to you, to build up goodwill with that customer so that they remain a customer for a little bit longer than they might otherwise have. We then deploy some strategies that will help the customer to enjoy greater benefit and to get more value from you, and in return for that you would be able to earn a little bit more revenue from that customer over the first year. In the second year we assume that to be the same, and in the third year we assume that the customer is spending only half of what they spent in year one. Now there are ways to improve on this, but for the meantime let's assume that this is an example of the revenue that you would generate over a 3-year period for a particular strategy that we adopt. Given that, you would have earned $325 worth of revenue from that customer over that period of time, and maintaining just a 10% gross profit margin. We could also talk about that in the future. That might be something also you could improve and even do better than what this shows. But on that basis, you have a lifetime gross profit of $32.50. Now, assuming that you'd still spent $8 to acquire that customer, you would have doubled your profit off that customer. That simply by adopting some strategies that make these things possible. Most of it automated, most of it hands-off. In fact, some businesses, depending on how you structured on the front end, you may find that you actually end up doing less in the early stages than you're currently doing at this point in time and still achieving that outcome. Now that illustrates a little bit of how powerful the concept of lifetime customer value is and why it's so important that you should be thinking about optimizing this for your business. Now, you may recall that one of the important things that we stress is that the business that is willing and able to pay the most to acquire a new customer is the one that wins. That's kind of intuitively obvious because when you're in the marketplace fighting for business, it's the customer is the person who calls the tune, and it's you, the business, who has to work harder to gain more market share. Now, one of the ways of working harder, of course, is to offer bigger incentives or better deals up front, maybe discounting products or whatever. So let's take a look at what happens if we assume that we actually double the cost of acquiring that customer. Now, that puts you in a position where your opposition are probably going to be looking at you like sideways and wondering what in the world are these guys doing and how can they possibly afford to spend double the amount of money on things like advertising or special deals or discounts or whatever. But even if you were to do that, if you went and spent double the amount of money acquiring that same customer, given that you had the other strategies in place, you would still have increased your profit off that customer or the average customer by nearly 50%. So it just shows that, and it's probably unlikely that you'll spend double, by the way. So this shows that it's important that you should be focusing your attention on the lifetime customer value and optimizing that so that you can actually enjoy the benefits of leverage that have been illustrated by this example.
Well, there you have it, the concept of customer lifetime value. I hope that you have found that both informative and it has created an impression on you that by getting this right, you can make a huge difference in your business. If you would like to follow through on this, if you think it's something that can help you in your business, you know there's absolutely no risk. So just click the button below. It'll take you through the process where we could sit together and go through the strategic review of your business with that in mind, with a specific focus on customer lifetime value. At the same time as we do that, we provide you the tool that you've just seen, as well as many others, to help you to make sure that you get your finger on the pulse, that you can actually double the profit in your business without too much effort and certainly without much investment at all. So that's it from me for now. I hope to see you on the other side. Take care. Bye.